At present, within your immediate reach, there's likely enough sugar to astound a prehistoric person. It's tucked away in your pantry. It's lurking in your bread, ketchup, yogurt, cereal, pasta sauce, and even in foods that no longer taste sweet. Today, we don't just consume sugar at dessert, we consume it constantly. Breakfast, coffee, snacks, beverages, all contribute to accumulating tiny amounts throughout the day without most of us even noticing. If you amassed all the sugar the average person consumes in a month, it would resemble a mound of treasure more than a pile of food. An average individual currently ingests more sugar in a single week than many ancient societies encountered in months. Each time sugar touches your taste buds, your brain reacts as if something extraordinary is happening. For most of human history, sweetness was an incredible rarity. The initial taste of sweetness for most humans is in breast milk. Even before speaking or walking, your brain is forming associations between sweetness and comfort, security, and survival, a connection that never truly fades. Ancient cultures knew nothing of desserts, sodas, or supermarkets bathed in fluorescent light. Their diets largely comprised of tough roots, bitter plants, dry nuts, fibrous grains, and meat caught with significant effort, while fruits were drastically different. Wild bananas were small with tough seeds, ancient apples were tiny and sour, watermelons were pale and bitter. A strawberry from today would taste nearly unimaginable to someone from 40,000 years ago. Over millennia, humans selectively bred fruit to be larger, softer, and sweeter. Thus, they effectively redesigned the very nature of fruit. Sweetness was out there in nature, but it was scarce and memorable when found. Picture yourself standing in East Africa during the Ice Age. You've roamed arid expanses all day in search of nourishment. Hunger is an ongoing backdrop in your life because each calorie is critical, given that your body never knows when the next successful hunt will occur. Suddenly, you see bees heading into a hollow tree. Your attention immediately zeroes in. Honey, packed with thousands of calories and rich golden syrup, is one of the most nourishing finds available in the ancient world. Retrieving it will not be easy. You lack protective gear, ladders, or harnesses, but you climb the tree regardless, enduring stings to your face, neck, and hands as branches creak beneath your weight. Occasionally, people fall. Sometimes they even die. Yet they continue to ascend. Anthropologists observing the Hadza people in Tanzania have documented this very behavior among present-day hunter-gatherers. Honey is so invaluable that Hadza hunters spend hours scouring massive territories for wild hives, not in solitude. An African bird known as the honey guide has cultivated one of history's most peculiar partnerships with humans. It knows that humans can dismantle beehives, and humans understand that the bird can locate them. Thus, it leads hunters through the wilderness, hopping from one tree to the next as humans track its calls until it leads them to a concealed hive. Humans break into the hive for honey, and the bird feasts on the remnants. Humans and birds, without intention, embarked on a functional relationship millennia before civilization began, since sugar was that crucial. Yet honey wasn't humanity's sole fixation. With the arrival of berry season, entire landscapes transformed. A hillside laden with ripe fruit could draw all sorts of creatures from the surrounding areas. Birds, bears, insects, primates, humans, all competing briefly for that burst of sweetness before it vanished. For a select few weeks, ancient humans feasted without constraint. Children had hands stained purple from crushing berries, adults consumed until they felt discomfort, and some tribes even scheduled migrations around the seasonal appearance of fruit. In a world with uncertain calories, sweetness equated to safety. That world shaped how your brain evolved. In nature, bitter often signals poison, while sweetness usually indicates safe energy. Over millions of years, animals evolved to pursue sweetness eagerly. Humans became particularly attuned to it. As soon as sugar lands on your tongue, your brain starts altering your behavior. Your focus narrows, you immediately crave more. Your body readies itself to ingest as much as possible before that opportunity is lost. To your brain, sweetness signifies an emergency opening. For ancient humans, this instinct was flawless. Discovering berries meant eating until your stomach ached because you never knew when you'd encounter them again. Finding honey meant consuming vast amounts instantly, with no refrigerator awaiting back home. Your brain operates in the same manner even today. It's running the ancient survival software suited for a scarcity-driven world. Yet, humans altered their surroundings so rapidly that evolution couldn't keep pace. Around 8,000 years ago, people in New Guinea began cultivating sugarcane, at first merely chewing the stalks. Eventually, sugarcane journeyed across Asia via migration and trade. Upon reaching India, sugarcane underwent a transformation that would redefine human history. People discovered how to crystallize sugar, enabling the preservation of sweetness. Previously, sweetness relied on ripe fruit or wild honey, both perishable. Crystallized sugar could weather long travels and facilitate trade across continents, revolutionizing the world swiftly. When Alexander the Great invaded India in 327 BCE, his army encountered sugar for the first time. A commander depicted it as a peculiar plant producing honey without bees, a concept that appeared magical to Europeans. Over the following centuries, sugar permeated Persia and the Islamic regions, carried by traders through the major routes uniting Asia, Africa, and Europe. Over the ages, sugar spread worldwide, profoundly affecting economies. Wherever sugar reached, it obsessed the people. Initially, sugar was astronomically expensive. Most would never taste it. Kings guarded it within locked chests. Affluent families showcased bowls of it during feasts to exhibit their status, and doctors even recommended it as medicine. Royal banquets sometimes included sculptures crafted entirely from sugar. Castles, ships, animals, edible centerpieces for feasting later on, illustrating its immense value. By the time Queen Elizabeth I reigned England, the nobility frequently exhibited blackened teeth from sugar-induced decay, a bizarre status emblem that signified wealth through the means to indulge in sugar. Remarkably, healthy teeth marked the poor, while rotting ones defined the rich, a situation briefly envied. Demand skyrocketed. European empires realized tropical climates were ideal for sugarcane cultivation. Vast plantations emerged in the Caribbean and the Americas. Millions of enslaved Africans were inflicted with grueling labor in sugarcane fields under dreadful conditions. Entire economies began revolving around the pursuit of sweetness. The global sugar trade evolved into one of the world's most prosperous industries, all fueled by a craving initially intended to help humans survive famine. Eventually, something novel occurred in human history. Ordinary individuals began accessing concentrated sweetness regularly. By the 1700s, sugar became affordable enough for working-class families to enjoy daily. Sweet tea, pastries, jams, and other desserts spread throughout European urban centers. Human physiology was utterly unprepared for this, as your brain continues to consider sugar as scarce. That is the fundamental issue. Historically, sweetness appeared sporadically, a few berries, a fortunate beehive, or a rare piece of ripe fruit. Then it vanished again. Today it never truly vanishes as sugar remains constantly available. Your nervous system is adapted to a reality where sweetness was a fleeting occurrence, but now, sugar is endless, with modern processed versions far different from ancient fruit or wild honey. Reflect on eating an orange. You peel, chew, and digest its fiber until you feel satisfied. Contrast that with consuming a soda. Within moments, substantial sugar volumes flood your bloodstream while your stomach hardly registers the change. There was no precedent for consuming 40 grams of sugar while remaining stationary on a couch. Your primitive brain treats this as if you've chanced upon a rare survival resource. Yet now, that resource remains available indefinitely. Modern food companies comprehend this dynamic acutely. They've assembled teams of scientists and food designers working to activate your cravings for the next morsel. They meticulously test combinations of sugar, fat, crunch, and flavor for the optimal balance to captivate your brain. In grocery stores, the results are evident. Eye-catching candy wrappers beckon for attention immediately. Breakfast cereals drenched in sugar marketed as nutritious. Coffee beverages contain sweetness levels surpassing desserts from earlier centuries. Children encounter this sugary environment from an early age. Where ancient humans searched forests and climbed perilous heights for sweetness, modern individuals are encircled by it continuously. As time passed, something peculiar occurred with our taste perception. Sweetness transitioned from special significance to mundane. For numerous ancient humans, a sweet taste was lasting due to its rarity. Today, relentless sugar consumption means natural foods can seem flavorless in comparison. A strawberry might not stand a chance against lab-engineered chocolate candy. That notion would have seemed absurd for much of human history. Studies have shown that when individuals reduce processed sugar intake for a few weeks, the natural sweetness in ordinary foods becomes apparent once more. Fruit increases in flavor intensity. Milk may even taste notably sweet. It's as if your brain resets gradually toward its primal settings. In today's world, however, this reset is rarely permanent because sugar remains intertwined with almost every significant emotional occasion in our lives. Cakes at birthdays, desserts at holidays, chocolate gifts, sweets as rewards for children, people sharing treats at weddings, funerals, and ceremonies. Sugar has evolved into comfort, reward, and love. Our language reflects this with terms like honey, sweetheart, and sugar for loved ones. Ancient cravings have stealthily intertwined with cultural customs themselves. Perhaps that explains why it is so challenging for humans to resist sugar fully. You're contending with millions of years of survival-driven instincts. Each time you wander into your kitchen late at night, scrounging for something sweet, your brain is reacting to a bygone world where sweetness was scarce. A world in which finding honey justified the agony of countless bee stings. A world where sugar could determine whether you made it through winter or perished before spring. Today, the treasure trove never empties, and your primal mind still hasn't grasped that the quest is over.